Hi, I'm on the phone with Mark Shields, the head football coach from MDI High School. And, Coach, if I told you you would have had 5 turnovers or 5 takeaways from Winslow, I bet you thought you'd win.
Yeah, I probably would have thought that. I know. Gosh, defensively, we played great. I mean, to shut those guys down to 3 scores and, to have 5 turnovers and, it's just frustrating because, unfortunately, that's that old adage that, offense wins games and defense wins championships. And, and that's exactly what Winslow did to us. I mean, defensively, they were lights out. I mean, we threw everything we had at them. I mean, I think I threw 4 different offenses at them. And we still had a hard time moving the ball. And, we did okay moving the ball, from basically from the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line. But, man, when you got inside the red zone, we just could not make it happen. And, that's credit to Winslow's defense. They hit hard. They just – anything you get, you earn from them. I mean, a lot of the plays that we busted against other teams, it just doesn't happen against them. You really you need all 4 downs to get 10 yards, and they proved that for sure. I think they schemed well. They obviously had seen us before, and I'm sure they were tired of hearing how MDI was the only team to put 3 scores on them, and they took pride in that, and they just shut us down. But so proud of the kids. I couldn't ask for anything more this season, and even that game. I mean, the kids, they just played so hard. And, I was thinking back when I first started coaching here, and you'd go to Winslow, and you knew it wasn't going to be a game, and not only was it not going to be a game, you're going to get beat by 60 anyway. And
I remember getting blown out. It was like 56-something on it, and, it was just, second half, you didn't even want to come out of the locker room.
No, and at that point, Winslow would gear down, and it'd pretty much become a JV game. And, to sit there and to physically play with them, I was so impressed by our kids, whether we scored or not. I mean, we hit those guys. I mean, when we're shaking hands after the game, both teams were hobbling. You know, the kids were hobbling. It was a real physical game, and, I mean, that's really how you have to play a team like Winslow. You have to be physical, and our kids were definitely that. I mean, there were some big hits all day long, and, they made more plays than us, and, credit to them. We knew it was going to take, everything we had and maybe more to beat them, especially at Winslow, and, we just came up, a little short, and, the big thing was offensively, we just couldn't really make it happen, and that's because of their great defense. I mean, they had 9 returning starters from last year, and it showed Saturday.
They really seem to be keying in on Tanner, and I mean, as great of a player Tanner was this year, I mean, my God, he got up to that line of scrimmage, and they were hitting him, and he was bouncing backwards, and I haven't seen that happen to Tanner all season long.
Yeah, they definitely were, and I mean, I read some of the articles from the Waterville papers down there, and they did interviews of the Winslow kids, the defensive kids, and they were saying how, they knew how tough Tanner was and how tough, our offense was to stop.
Yep, Corey.
They knew they had to stop Tanner to stop MDI, and Tanner ran hard, and he gave it everything he had, but there just wasn't a lot of holes there, and, it wasn't our offensive line's fault. I mean, they just have really good linebackers.
Right.
I mean, they're stout up front. They're big up front, which is hard enough to move them. And then you put these huge, quick linebackers behind them, and it's just hard to get anything going. I mean, you get to the second level, and those linebackers were right there. So, that was, I mean, really the key to victory for them is they shut us down. They shut down our offense.
And, I mean, just hats off to the defense for MDI. I mean, Isaiah Keene with 2 interceptions. You've got some fumble recoveries. The special teams played well. I mean, it was just couldn't score. I mean, sometimes you just throw your hands up in the air and you say, oh, my gosh, we played so well. We just couldn't score.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the tape, it was pretty much what I thought I'd see after walking off the field. And, we had, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 drives where we would get down close to the 10-yard line, and we just could not make it happen. And so frustrating. And, I was really proud of, Andrew Phelps, our quarterback. I told him before the game, I said, in a big game like this, especially when you're an underdog on the road, don't be afraid to take some shots downfield. And I think we threw the ball, 17 times maybe. I think I saw the stats.
Yeah.
And that's not typical of us, but Winslow sort of forces you to do that, especially late in the game when you're trying to, make some plays. But he did. He took some shots, and I was happy about that. He wasn't afraid, and, he had some Winslow guys hanging off him while he was doing that. So, and our receivers made some great catches. I mean, Graham Good had one unbelievable catch, a couple of them in the middle of the field with guys draped off him,
Right.
The kids they gave it everything he had, and, on the ride home, of course, you want to win the game, of course, but I think the kids were by the time we hit McDonald's in Newport, there was a lot of smiling going on in the bus, and the kids were proud of what they had accomplished, and I think they feel good about it. We've been emailing all weekend, and I've been talking to the kids a little bit today, and, I think they're just proud of what they accomplished, and they had nothing. I told them when we left the field, there were a lot of tears, and mostly mine, but
yeah.
And it wasn't about losing the game. It's the sadness of the finality of it all. You play your hearts out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the season's over. Just like that.
It comes crashing down. I mean, whatever sport what you're playing in. I mean, unless you're lifting up the gold ball, it ends dramatically.
Yep, definitely. And we tell our kids all the time, and we believe this, that the most important thing on that field is never going to be that scoreboard. It's going to be those kids, and that's why we were so emotional after the game, and you just hate to see it end, and you hate to see it end, especially for our seniors. But those kids, I told them, when you walk off the field today, walk with your heads high, because you probably just lost to the state champion. I mean, they were state champions last year, and there's a good chance they're going to be state champions again this year. So nothing to be ashamed of.
Let me ask you, who do you think, is the regional finals Friday night? Old Town 9-0. You've played them once. Well, Winslow regular season, they're 9-0. You've played them twice. Who do you think wins?
Yeah, boy, that's a great question. And if it were going to be played down to Winslow, I'd say Winslow for sure. But being played up to Old Town, man, those guys play well up there, and they feel comfortable up there. And, if Winslow plays as sloppy as they did against us offensively, Old Town's going to beat them. But I think if Winslow takes care of the football, and I'm sure they're going to work hard on that all week, a betting man's going to pick Winslow just because, they're just such hard-nosed kids. They just hit you so hard. And not that Old Town can't do that, but, I mean, Winslow's going to be more physical than them, I think, play in, play out. And, can Winslow stop Old Town's high-powered offense? And Winslow's going to work all week on that. And they have some good athletes in their defensive backfield that I don't think you're going to see a lot of those long passes like you've seen against some of us other schools. So I'd say Winslow by a touchdown.
Okay. How about those MDI fans? I mean, my God, I looked across the field, and the crowd that traveled with the football team was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome. And, I remember when I first came down here 20 years ago, and, I mean, granted, we weren't a great football team back then, and, I wouldn't expect fans to travel very far to see us play, unless you're a parent, but, and then I'd go to the basketball games, and I'd be like, oh, my gosh, we got all kinds of fans on the road, and you go to the auditorium, you'd see that, and, the dream was that someday you'd see that with the football program, and that has come to fruition for sure, because, I mean, you go up to Old Town for that big game, and there's a ton of people coming out, and then you go down to Winslow for the semifinal, and, I mean, there was a ton of people there. Both teams had a lot of people. You'd expect a lot from Winslow, but, our fans have been awesome all year long, and this has been happening for numerous years now, and it just feels really good that they come out and support us like that.
You have some people to thank. What do you want to do?
Yep. I have a list of people here. For starters, once again, I want to thank our fans, for supporting us, and they supported us right from day one. And I've heard a lot even after this game. I was at Hannaford yesterday morning, running into people, and just a lot of pats on the back, and just people saying how proud they are of the football program, and that just feels great. Some other people, Jack Merrill, I always forget to thank Jack. He's my stat guy, and Jack's been doing this since I've been head coach for 13 years now. And Jack, he doesn't get paid to do this. He just does it on his own, and he'll travel with us on the road. And I've just been so lucky to have Jack, and he does my conference stats for me, and that's something I have to have, week in, week out, this end of the conference, and I just really want to thank him. I'd like to thank also the Islander. They've been covering us for years, and once again did a nice job this year. And you got to thank WDEA, Chris Popper. I mean, the guy doesn't sleep. I don't know when he finds time to sleep, but I mean, this guy does everything, and we really appreciate it. And it's been a great relationship between us and all our sports programs at WDEA, and not only on the radio, but now on the internet, and it gives people an opportunity to listen out of state. I mean, I know there's some people that live out of state that follow us, and it's just awesome. And so I thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I want to thank Bunky Dow, my athletic director. Bunky has supported me in the program right from day one since I took over. And, I mean, the guy doesn't say no. Whenever I ask him for something, he just says, yes, Mark, whatever we can do to help and make it happen. And, he's just been a great supporter of MDI athletics for years in general. I mean, he is a legend. We saw that. But as far as football specifically, he's always been there for us. And, I want to thank my coaches. I mean, the dedication, Mark Arnold, Tony DeMiro, Chris McGuire, Ian Braun helped out the last few weeks. The time that's invested in coaching, and, nobody's doing this for the money. We're doing it because we want to be part of something special, and that's those kids that are on that field. And I just can't thank those guys enough. The time that they spend away from their own families to coach football and be part of these kids' lives, I can't say enough about them, and I am so fortunate to have them. And
let me just add, I saw Mark Arnold's video, and I was so pumped up watching the video. I actually posted it on WDEA, the website. I mean, he had me so fired up. I was ready to go take the field or run to the press box. It was amazing. Yep,
yeah, and the kids were actually playing that in the locker room when they were changing up down at Winslow, and and that stuff. It helps, it really does motivate the kids. It motivates everybody, it just gets people excited. And, Mark does so much, he's a great football mind anyway, but then with, his technology background, I mean, he does all these videos for the kids, and, he's always bringing kids into his room, and they're breaking down film, and it's just awesome. So, I can't thank him enough. And
I know Walter Churchill's on your list, too, with all the photos he's taken.
Yep, Walter, he travels with us everywhere we go, and, he's had some great, shots this year. That picture down in Madison.
The steam coming up, that's award-winning.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just, and of course, he gives me a free copy, a big poster of it, and, Walter's great for all the sports teams here, and we can't thank him enough. And, of course, I got to thank my wife.
Well, don't make it sound like you have to. I mean, my God, you need to.
Yeah, I need to. Once again, to put up with me for starters she deserves some sort of medal. But this is 20 years now, and she supports me 100% and supports the team and loves to be part of it. She travels and watches all the games, and she's the sound barrier for me. I go home and whatever happened in the game or practices, and she always listens, and that you need somebody like that or you'll go crazy, and I can share with her, of course, all any intimate thought that I have about the team and whatever's going on. And I've been very fortunate to be married to a wonderful person for 20 years and love her very much. So I can't say enough. And
The other thing is thank your kids too, because you know they don't have dad at home.
Yep. My kids, Madeline, Delaney, and Jacob. Both my girls played volleyball here at the high school, and Jacob, he played in the AFL, and they have to sacrifice a lot too, because I'm not around a lot in the fall, and even in the summertime. It is a year-long job at this time of year specifically that I did my best to see my girls play, and fortunately I was able to see a lot of their games, and I saw every one of my son's football games, which was awesome. So we were able to make that work. But my kids, they've always supported me. When I was thinking about stepping down from head coach, they all said to me, "We like our dad being the head football coach." They're proud of that. So I can't thank them enough. And,
well, Mom's easier to deal with than you are. So
yeah, I know. I know. Well, that's probably true. And then lastly, I just want to thank our players. These kids, right from day one, they, here we are doing 2-a-days out on the field, and, we're working these kids hard, and practice is over. Next thing I know, I look, and the coaches are leaving the field, and the kids are still out there, and they're doing these team-building activities, and they did that all season long, and it just showed. I was so impressed and proud of the way they conducted themselves and the way they played as a team. Once again, I've been doing this a long time, and I've had some great teams, and the teams that are usually great are the ones that have that great team unity and team chemistry, and this team had just that, and that came from great senior leadership, and then all the way down to my freshmen. The kids just bought into the whole program, and sure enough, I tell the kids, we're not big on scoreboards and scores. We're big on doing the right thing, and you'd be surprised how well you do on the scoreboard when you do those right things. And our kids did that. So I tell them after the game, I love every one of them, and them being part of my life was more important to me being part of theirs, and I really believe that.
They may not have won the gold ball, but they won you as a coach for next year, because, let's face it, you were going to step down. Yep,
definitely. I was, 20 years is a long time, and time away from my family, and thought, well, it might be time, 20 years is a good round number, but, because of these kids, I told them, I said, I'm definitely coming back. I'm excited for next year to get started, just to be part of their lives, and hopefully we can have another great year next year.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you. You give us unprecedented access. There's not another radio station that has the kind of access that we have with the MDI football team, and really, I guess, the Ellsworth football team. And that's only because of your willingness to share all the information with us, and it's been a great ride. It's hard to believe that the 2015 season's over, but we look forward to continue working with you, and great success for the MDI football team for many years to come.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Chris, and like I said, what you've done to promote the program, and this school, all our sports programs and everything, not only sports programs, but academics, right across the board. It's just been tremendous, and, we really appreciate that, and let's keep this thing going for a while.
All right, Coach. Enjoy your spare time now. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm sure Holly's got a big honey-do list for you.
Yeah, there's some things that have been put off around the house that apparently need to get done, so... Yeah, I'll get through this week. This is another busy week only because I got to collect equipment and banquets and that sort of stuff. But then, I'm thinking a week from today, things are going to be a little bit easier. And, start tending to things around the house that I should have been doing a while ago, I guess.
All right, Coach. Thanks very much.
All right, Chris. Thank you. All right, Chris. Thank you. All right, Chris. Thank you.